Hey, I'm finishing up. I'm finishing up. I'm finishing up. Kate Bush. Everybody loves Kate Bush. People love Kate Bush. I love Kate Bush. One of my favorite artists back in the, mostly, I guess, in the 80s, I guess, when she really struck hardest for me. As I said before, a huge fan of Hounds of Love, huge fan of Never Forever, huge fan of The Dreaming. My God, that era right there, those are my favorite three. And I like the other new ones too. I've liked the ones that I had just as much. Just don't have the same, I guess, time for me coming along, and I do have them a little lower. You can see on the list, but none of them do I disrespect musically. I mean, she was just a fantastic artist with fantastic, it's fantastic musical sophistication too for somebody. And you don't think, given her background, that much of the training was music, but I mean, it's a lot of sophistication in the arrangements and this stuff. And a lot of these chords are really, these songs are well written, and they're not songs that. Yeah, they're well crafted. They're not somebody that when you hear she create demoed 200 songs, you're thinking, oh my God, she must have really gotten into something different. But nevertheless, let's go. I'm going to count down my top 20. Katie Bush. I shouldn't say that. Kate Bush songs. Okay, we used to kid about that when my kids were small. Number 20. Gonna put him on the wedding list. Number 20, the wedding list from Never Forever. I'm gonna get him and I will not miss. Number 20, the wedding list. I guess age-old tale of the vindictive bride getting married and inviting the ex to the wedding. Number 19, I talked about the red shoes. The red shoes, the sound of it a little different, a little not as inviting to me as the others, a little bit more closed and a little bit crazier, a little bit in ways. But I do like Big Stripey Lie. Big Stripey Lie is kind of crazy too, but I'm in on all the crazy. But I'm just saying that to me, it was a surprise from her because it kind of came in an angle that I wasn't surprising. Number 8 that I was surprised with. Number 18, Hammer Horror from Lionheart. I like Lionheart, but again, and I like Hammer Horror is okay. It was really good on the when they did this. Excuse me, I dropped this thing. When they did this on the live record, they did some of those early songs. I thought it was really really cool. But let's talk about 17. This is probably one of the longer songs on it, but I love Misty. I love Misty from 50 Words for Snow. Something about that record that just suspends time. I think that and Ariel are both similar in that way, in that they almost require you to go into a different. They don't remind me of records that are made in outside intrusion. They're really best appreciated, I think, in absolute silence or headphones. They're great headphone records, especially 50. It's great. Let's go back to numbers. For number 16, let's go back to the original Kick Inside. Kite. And the reason why I'm thinking about it a lot is I really thought that live version that they did was really cool. I couldn't understand if I wanted to do that or Heavy People, but they were both really great. Let's go to Ariel for number 15 for the great startup, the great, the beautiful sound of just, release of King of the Mountain. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to that record. A lot of people didn't give that a big chance. I think a lot of people after the break, those last couple didn't really get near as much attention as the ones before. If you look at the sales figures, but again, a lot of people are downloading music. So anyway, let's get into the Hounds of Love. Let's get in the greatness of Hounds of Love and the great keyboard synthesizer and the ballad Mother Stands for Comfort. That I don't know if it's a lute sounding sound. Mother stands for da, da. I like it that. That's the same sort of thing that she did on the Peter Gabriel record, and I didn't include that because it's really on the Gabriel record, so I did not include that on this thing here. Number 13, I've talked about Central World's great Deeper Understanding. I really wish that song would have been I've always wished, and it's terrible to think about that, but it tells you what I think about the production of both those records. I've always wanted that record to be song to be plucked out of it and moved into another record that I like better. Isn't that awful? Isn't that terrible? I think it's one of the best songs, but I think it really stands out. I think it's and that's what bums me about the Sensual World. I mean, it just sounds to me like it's hey, we're trying to work in the same ballpark as my sound that I've identified with in Hounds of Love, and then Experiment 4 is move on down with that. And as I'm talking about that, let's do it. Experiment 4. That's my number 12 favorite song. Experiment number 4, that is from The Whole Story, which is I guess it was a standalone single that she recorded between the time of Sensual World and before Sensual World came out, and Hounds of Love. I guess it was a Hounds of Love outtake. It wasn't too long after. What was it? 86? Was it 86 or 87? Was that? And let's get into some of the great ones. Number 11 from Never Forever, Blow Away for Bill. Just one of the most delicate, beautiful songs, with the harmony as the chords just drift. Sta-na-na-na, told me last night, music was all that he's got in his life. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. The melody and the messages, does it all go away? No, it doesn't go away. Of course it doesn't go away. Why do you think we spend our time here? Ever since I've known, it was something about the music, something about sound. Something about sound as opposed to, other people love working with their hands, or they like doing these things. I like working with my hands too, to make music, to construct music, to play chords, to play instruments. But I don't know. Something about it, man. Number 10, the jarring Waking the Witch from Hounds of Love, which is just centerpiece. It's almost when the things, remember the clipping back and forth, the panning back and forth. It's beautiful. While we're talking about that, let's talk about let's stay there in the harrowing zone with Get Out of My House and Dreaming, who's screaming at the end. Oh my God, just a great, people were not ready for it. They're like, well, I didn't buy, what is this? I didn't buy a Lydia Lunch or what's that D. Diamanda Gallis record. This is a Kate Bush record, but it does, in a way, sound like the Red Mask and some of that stuff there at the end of that, but it's good. Number 8, Cloud Busting, of course, one of the coolest singles. I think that was a great single. I think it took a lot of balls to put that out after running up that hill, but what a beautiful, she gets up there in the hills with that thing and that crazy thing. For Cloud Busting, Daddy. Hey, 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 hey. It's just beautiful, man. What a beautiful. Oh, gorgeous. Number 7. Well, we've said this before, and number 7 is, I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to take the original version of The Sensual World, which is not the remade version of about the mountain, the Mountain King, not King of the Mountain, but the mountain. What's it called here? Let me find it here. I'll find it for you guys, and you'll not think that I'm completely crazy here. Hold on. But anyway, The Sensual World, the song was done, and then it was redone later after the Red Shoes. When the Red Shoes were done, then both those records were redone in the later years with, let's see what we got here. Hold on, let me move a little bit forward. 1 second. But when Director's Cut came, and that came in, I guess it was 1995, I suppose it was, or 2011, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't remember the name of the way that it, Flower of the Mountain. I knew it's something to do with the mountain. Damn it. Sorry to waste your guys' time for all that. But anyway, Flower of the Mountain. I really like the original Sensual World better. I would have rather to have, and I did hear a clean-up version of that one time, so I don't know if there's one version of that where they actually cleaned up the tracks themselves before they did the replacement. But that one is drastically different. And if somebody wouldn't really draw my attention to it, I really probably wouldn't know that. But I playing about the original from the original record back, The Sensual World, in 1989. I love that one. Number 6, The Big Sky from Hounds of Love. I'm looking at The Big Sky. What was the question? You got cloud busting in the big sky. It also do the sky. It also do the openness and stuff. What a great one. And then number 5, while we're talking more, but pull out the pin. Talking about the in a grenade, and just with the most ding 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 ding. It's harrowing, and the flange and the voice and everything. Ah, beautiful. Number 4, the setup for Blow Away, the gorgeous Delius. I think one of the most brilliant things that's ever been recorded. I'm surprised you don't hear that more on bumper music as an instrumental. It's one of the, she sings a song, the word Delius, but other than that, there's not really. There's a little bit of vocals on it, but there's not much. Number 3, I talked about the harrowing. Some say that. Sat in Your Lap, number 3. The opener from Dreaming, the jarring opening of Dreaming that lets you know, buddy, you're going to be, your ass is sitting into a thing. You don't know if she's going to go down the Scott Walker alley or she's going to stay there. Luckily, she stayed on a lot, terms that people, can understand a lot more and is not quite as scary, but there's certainly some scary turns in that record. There's a lot of scary stuff. And I'm going to talk with 2 and 1, and we're going to put them back to back. And these are back to back songs, and I couldn't really, and I wanted to count them as 2 because they're long. It's not really fair to count them as 1. Talking about the very end of Hounds of Love, the remarkable ambient space out Hello Earth, which literally can put you to sleep as you drift off, and you're like going to space, and you're hearing this space. These things go through which sound like you're floating in outer space. And all of a sudden, ding, ding, the morning fog, which is my favorite ever. There's so much in that. I don't know what to. I'm sorry. Da-da-da-da. It's just like the morning fog. But there's a richness and an assurance that after the trip, after the night, after you've been through the uncertainty, and after you've been here, there's a hand in the morning waiting for you. There's hope in the morning. We've made it to another morning. And I don't think any artist anywhere has communicated that any better than Kate Bush did here. If they have, I haven't heard it. And it truly, by itself, is enough. Those moments at the end of Hound of Love, the last 2 songs, are enough to instill you in any. You've made God's music by making those last 2 songs. And I truly mean that. I think they are remarkable. And she is a remarkable artist. And once again, I'm going to finish this up by saying the triumvirate, man. Never Forever, The Dreaming, and Hounds of Love. You want to go a little bit weirder beyond that, keep going to Ariel and 50 Words for Snow. But again, I'm very grateful to God, grateful to everybody, grateful to you, grateful to anybody who allowed me to be in this world, to be able to experience this music. It's such a great thing to live in a time when people can give me such pleasure by listening to music. She is one of the best artists, one of my favorite artists, and I'd like to hear from you what you think about her and what you think about this list. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, please, too. I really appreciate that. You could really help us out an awful lot with that. We will be back with something else fun next time. Once again, we really appreciate having y'all around, and we will catch you next time.